Yeah.
So we've got a state of emergency in South Buffalo. The east side, they completely disinvested it. The powers that be are shutting down the schools. We got someone working hard to save it, but it's an uphill battle. MLK and features and things like that. The houses are falling apart. Meanwhile, they got brand new hotels. What is this? What is this craziness? A new ice rink? I don't care about an ice rink. Okay, the east side looks like a war zone. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting money. And my mom has been working ever since. They're trying to build a whole new city on top of the working brown people. That's my family. So I was on the cover of the Buffalo Spree back in November, for my work at Push Buffalo. But I'm, even more than just being at an organization. I'm a black woman who's lived in this city all of my life. I'm 28. I grew up on, Donaldson. I lived on Bissell. You know what I mean? I lived all over the city. I lived by, Central Park Plaza. Now it's like gone. I used to get my weave there. What happened? Look, what are they doing? So I am done. You know what I mean? I know the mayor is working on this. The governor, you got the powers that be that are working. You got the clergy that came out last weekend. So I have faith that, the powers that be, are trying to make some moves. I even still believe the president is making some moves. But we can't wait for them. We can't. Because they're dying. We're dying like every day. So I think this is guerrilla warfare, if you ask me. Just like she said, we have to hug people again, say hello again. If you have food, share. We already do these things because we survived in this city. It's not like this is new. You know what I mean? You can't even afford an education today. So I have a master's degree. I just finished Buff State, a master in public administration. Y'all want to know about public administration? Thank you. I will share what I know. I went to school for AUP, biomedical science. They didn't let me become a medical doctor, but damn it, I'm damn near a doctor. So I will share what I learned. And there you go. There's an ambulance right now. I will share what I learned. We gotta share our books. We gotta share our food. Just like she said, we have to if you see somebody on the street, if they're cold, give them a coat. You know what I mean? Everybody's sending things to the city mission. I used to drive so many people to the city mission. They're getting turned away because there's no beds, or they maybe have a drug abuse problem and you can't stay in the city mission, so then they wander around the city, waiting for the police to come and pick them up. And I'm definitely not trying to give the police a bad rap because, we have some good officers, but we can't just sit there and let our people just wander the streets in the middle of the night. I've walked around Grant Street at 3 a.m. I'm not scared. But that's still not safe. I'm scared of the white people in the suits. They're the ones, the greedy 1%. Yeah, that's what happened. Our whole city is not even ours anymore. There's slumlords all across the globe that bought our houses and they live in Florida. I know where my landlord lives, but I'm not going to drive there and go see her. Okay? And they bought it all up. And then, again, this hotel, the ice rink, I don't care about that. How is that going to feed us?
Right.
So while they continue to talk about Buffalo's on the move, Buffalo's booming, exactly, MLK Park and everything, we still have to take care of ourselves because regardless, if they shut down the schools, give me the babies, give me the books. That's just how I feel today. So, it doesn't stop just because they want to shut down an institution. 50 years ago, there was a thing called Freedom Summer where black and white college students went to Mississippi to help register poor black Mississippians to vote because the federal government, was shooting black people that tried to vote in Mississippi. Okay, so they went down there, in the face of that to help people vote. And it feels like 1950 again. It kind of feels like 1920 in here. So we got to they rolled things back. We got to roll it back to 2015. It feels like the 1800s.
I heard you guys talking about the schools and you went to the board or meeting.
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
that
That's more Eve's place. She works at MLK, so she can speak a little bit about what's going on there.
I'm Eve Shippens, and I am affiliated with lots of different organizations, but I am here with my own voice because not every organization really fits me completely. I do also want to say that I don't usually speak at these things because I respect being an ally and that this is a place for people of color to really speak out. But I do have a story. I am from a mixed race family from 1950, and my boys are mixed. But on top of that, I'm a Buffalo teacher. And a lot of times you hear this about Buffalo teachers don't care, and maybe some of you guys are students in Buffalo. And there is a systemic problem. It's not the heart of people. Everybody is under the same system. We are bullied from the federal government, state government. We are threatened about our jobs if we are out of compliance. We have to do things that we don't agree with. I do things that I don't agree with. I run my classroom most of the time like a pre-prison. Walk in the line, in your uniform, silently. All of this stuff I don't agree with. But it is what feeds my family, and they intimidate us not to speak out. Obviously, I don't agree with the intimidation anymore, because here I am, I'm speaking out. A lot of times I ignored it, I closed my classroom door, I tried to do the best I can, love my students the best I could, and I thought that was enough. If I could make a difference in a few people's lives, that's all that mattered. But they came for us. And these are huge charter corporations that are traded on the stock market, who are coming into Buffalo to take away public education. When you take away public education, there is no voice. You will have no voice in what they do to the children. And we hardly have a voice as it is. But the second that that's private, the budget is not up for us to look at. We don't have freedom of information. We can't demand anything. I teach at a school that is 99% black, 97% poverty, and 30% special ed. The charter schools are not going to take those kids. They're going to take the best of them, and then the rest of them will go to other persistently low-performing schools in Buffalo. And they're going to close down these 4. Tapestry's after Bennett. Health Science Charter is after my school at Martin Luther King. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Lafayette and with East. But I know 2 out of 4 of these schools are about to be closed down and converted to charters. And they're not being evaluated for educational plans. They're not being evaluated for what they're going to do with these populations. They're just being evaluated with whether they could come into the building and manage the space. And if they can, walk in the door and take over. That is not democracy. And this is what's happening. And after these 4 go, which I'm pretty sure 2 out of 4 of them will go, after these 4, next year we'll see 6 more out-of-time schools. And the same craziness that we did this year to try and keep them open, which is largely, on January 14th is the board meeting where they will announce their decision. There is no public forum to discuss the proposals there is no public forum to have parents, community members, or students voice their opinions. On the 14th, they're just going to announce what they decided. Without reason, without given. I worked for the redesign team at MLK. We have a fantastic plan. We're not allowed, we got our district directive, my job's on the line, we're not allowed to release it to the public until after the 14th. So I can't even show you and let you have a voice. So without losing my job. And that's the way they're playing it right now. And they're taking away public education. Public education needs to be fixed. It's not a good system. I work in it, my kids go to it, I went through it, it's not a good system. I'm not defending the public schools. I'm not. But privatizing them is a worse choice. We need to demand that they invest in our schools again. We need to demand that there's art, music. We want the same privileges in our schools that they have in Clarence. Our kids deserve all that. And that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we get the money we deserve to give these young people what they need to be successful.
Well, first I want to thank all those out here younger than me. That ain't many of y'all. Anyway, no, but let me tell you, this is a very important moment, because think about the days when you walk around or you move around and you don't have anything particular in mind, you're just moving about. The difference in a moment like that and a moment like now is because you're here for a real reason. Now, you may not understand how all of it connects, but it connects. You know that there's something wrong going on. when Danielle called for coming out here, she had no idea that you would show up. She had no idea that she would know anything about me. How I heard about Danielle is that she was expressing it with a friend, and the friend, probably like you, have been thinking, what can I do? And she started talking out loud on the social media. And was talking about something needs to be done. And then you're right, something needs to be done. And there's a lot that's happening. Some of what's happening is no good. You got some folks in the community want to kind of go ballistic and get wild. That ain't what we here for. You got other folks in authorities who wear badges, who have a requirement to execute a certain kind of duty towards everybody. They're over there getting mad too. And you ain't mad. You're just desiring to create a moment that will bring about some peace, to bring about a moment that will have us stopping the violence. It's just like your sign say, we won't rest. You can't rest when you got one group at this extreme and one group at that extreme. The question is, where do you stand? Well, there's a history lesson. And we're about to celebrate his birthday next year, and you hear about him all the time because everybody's always talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, we know about him, but what you need to know about him is that he didn't run to this end, and he didn't run to this end. He sought out that narrow middle. And this is where we all are right now. That narrow middle is the part of the ground where you don't be just mad at those who are sick and doing horrible things, but you don't also be blind to the fact to those who are upset and mad and doing horrible things also. Your job is to become the point of the Spirit, to be the beacon that leads toward the better direction. The better direction is how do we work together? First, it starts with us coming together like this. You don't have to be important. You don't have to have a title. You just have to know in your spirit that something needs to be done. Well, how do things get done? You can't do it all by yourself, but if you had a little help from your friends and you would gather with somebody else, you can get some things done. That's what's formulating here. That's how all movements form. You don't wait for somebody else to fix it. You become part of helping to fix it. And it starts with your own behavior. Your behavior starts with how we deal with one another. See, we can't tell the man that they ought to do better. We can't tell them downtown that if we not being that in our own community. Right. We can't tell nobody how they should treat us if we not treating each other right. Now, that don't mean that just because we got 5 or 10 who live not only in our community, but other communities who are doing stuff that is horrible, that is wrong, that don't represent all of us. Just because you got 5 or 10 police officers who are doing nasty and trying to be taunting, that's not all of them. And this is where you gotta be sharp. Because when somebody insults you, sometimes you don't need to talk about, I'll show them what I'll do. That ain't what you need to do. Sometimes you just need to be quiet, be still, know what you're capable of doing, and know that a person coming at you like that, and you ain't done nothing wrong, is out of order. And the first thing you want to do is you want to diffuse the situation. If you can lead, lead. But there are some situations where you can't lead. Right. And you need to know what can you do. When we come together like this, sometimes it'll be able to call help. But what about if you're in a moment where you done got caught up in a terrible situation? You're not the one doing the violence, but there are others who are doing it. What do you do? What do you do? Right. You gotta think about it, right? Well, I tell you what, if you've been nurtured with the thought that somebody hit me, hit them back, that's what you're gonna act on. Most of us been raised with, somebody hit you, you better hit them back.
Yeah, that's
right? Yeah. If somebody told you somebody hit you, no, you just go home, leave it alone. Your ego get in the way, right? Hey, I got a reputation, man. I got a whole. No, that's not it.
And then it's not really ego. It's like if somebody hits you, like say kids go to school, somebody hit them, you walk away. come back to school the next day, they do it again. Then they look at you like, okay, she not gonna fight back, or he's not gonna fight back, and they gonna keep on tormenting you until you stand up for yourself.
Right. And
Sometimes you have to stand up.
and that's the thing about that is that you gotta know how. See, every situation we get into, we ain't gonna win. I'm speaking to you young folks that know. See, adults know a lot of the stuff about how to defuse and everything, but still in that zone where I heard what mama and daddy said, but you don't know. You know, somebody hit you. It's hard to, I want to do what mama said. Sometimes you want to throw back. We understand it. But one of the things that can help you is when you're together, part of not only learning up here in the head, it's also learning physically. Exercising. Now, I ain't talking about losing no weight. Well, that'll help too. But I'm talking about doing things to help to build your own confidence. Because the key to fighting is, if you gotta fight, is that you're not gonna win every fight. But you need to have the confidence in yourself that if you're assaulted, you can stand your ground. And you can only learn that in the context of a real group that'll work with you to show you how to deploy that within the community. There was a time when young people, when our adults spoke to them, they didn't talk back. And those that did knew they were wrong. But those kids who came up in that environment, now that they're the adults, they have kind of allowed some young people to go astray. They don't challenge you when you say something and we don't challenge you back. Because we know how young people do. Don't you like to throw in the front like, hey, like I'm the baddest thing on the block, you don't want to come here. You know how we do. We like to talk like that. We don't really want to fight, but we play those games. We got to stop doing that. And it's your generation that's going to make the difference, because you don't have to do all that foolishness that we've been doing as adults. Your generation is the most diverse, the most multicultural experiencing one, and I mean in all directions, not in just ethnicity, but in sexual preference and everything, and you dealing in a community and a culture that's not really ready for you. So you got some teaching to do, but you also got a bunch of learning to do about your own behavior. I'm gonna shut up because I just wanted to be out here with Danielle. With Danielle, I'm telling you, Danielle didn't know. I do a weekly talk radio program. When I saw what Danielle wrote, she said, because everybody talking about something need to be done. If somebody do something, I'll come. And she said, everybody talking, nobody doing nothing. Well, you're doing something. See, to show up is some action there. Don't let nobody say, oh, y'all didn't do nothing. This is just to show up and be in support of what the sister has given birth to. And you know what? When you get ready to call an action, we're going to show up for you. Because right now, y'all become the standard bearers. You got some people just shouting, but y'all coming from a position and saying, we're tired of hurting, and you got a right to make some demands both ways. Now, I want to do a suggestion to you, because I know everybody out here not a voting age, and I'm going to end by saying this. I brought a bunch of registration forms. Now, here's the reason I want to use this as a lesson, because in Ferguson, with all that's going down, you know what the first thing that came out and said was wrong? Folks there were not registered to vote and were not exercising their power, their electoral power. And we got the same thing going on here. And we need you to understand that, yeah, registering to vote is one thing, but using that vote together for a single purpose is the next thing we got to learn. So for your generation, and what I want to say to you, if you're not already registered to vote, you need to do so. And for those who are not voters, you need to say to your family in the house, now I'm giving you some homework, to say to mom and dad, auntie and uncle, all the adults that come in contact, say, are you registered to vote? And make them, and tell them. You want to ask them, are they registered to vote? And you want to tell them, we want you to vote for people who represent our best interests. And you want to begin to parlay that and start telling your elected officials, you know what? We ain't going to always come downtown to stand in front of your place to say something to you, we're going to demand you come and talk to us. You see, nobody's come and talk to young people. Nobody's come to ask you, what do you want? You need to start thinking about what your demands are going to be. Because this is your time. All those folks you heard about, Dr. King, Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, they wasn't no old people when they started standing up. And some of them, if you look back in the civil rights pictures, were as small as these children. What do you think about the bombing of that church down, was about with the 4 girls? There wasn't no grown women. So I'm just telling you, this is as much your struggle, and really, this is your world you're going to inherit, so you need to be involved with changing it. And let us whosoever will help you. And I'm shutting up because I talk too much. And I want Danielle, just come on back out here, please. And we want to get a picture with you with the rest of them and all these other young folks together. But just know this is a rich moment. And I hope your hearts get spiked, that you'll continue to realize and receive that you are. Because you are the leaders. You don't need a button. It's the actions you take. And only leaders showed up here today.
Before we all leave, I do again want to say thank you to everybody that came. It really means something to me. I appreciate it. It is Christmas Eve, so I was a little nervous, but I do appreciate it. I want to go back real quick to what I said earlier as far as our youth. I really, really, really want to start doing stuff. Brittany, I want to talk to you more once we leave. It does not take an organization to do it. We can, I don't care, we just put on Facebook and tag each other, Lorna and Alex. We can do it, and we can say we'll have kids there. We'll come to each other's house. I don't care if we color and paint nails. Well, I don't know if my son thought about painting nails, but we will figure something out for these kids to do. There's all kind of places we can take them to play basketball. You know, I gave a suggestion like, why these kids don't play against each other? That burns things. You know, I really want to start doing something. I don't want to bury my son. He only 14. I don't know what I do, so I just want to start doing stuff. If we do this all the time, we was blessed. It ain't snowing. It ain't raining. God answered my prayers because I said, Lord Jesus, ain't nobody going to come. It's going to storm tomorrow. So I really, really, really want to start doing something with these kids. Like I said, I will post on my Facebook once I speak with Brittany and other people, even about the council meetings and the school board meetings. We got to show up. We can't complain and then don't do nothing. We got to show up. So if everybody took time to come today, you can do it again. We can do it again. So I want to see everybody's faces. And y'all say the same thing. Y'all hit me up on Facebook like, girl, you weren't at that meeting. You brought us out here. Where was you at? So I really, really, like, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. Jim way down there, I appreciate the opportunity of doing my radio interview yesterday. It was amazing. So like I said, again, I thank everybody, y'all young children, keep y'all heads up. Please listen to your parents. If you see your sister acting up like, because you only get one mother. You only get one father. And I'm telling you, they telling y'all what's right. We done been through it. We know. These streets, y'all watch the news, y'all seen them ambulance? Somebody probably got hurt. And that's sad. Every time you hear them, you like somebody got hurt. It ain't because somebody's grandmother's sick. It ain't because somebody fell down the stairs. Every time you hear them, the first thing you think is negative. We done had 6 deaths, y'all. They getting younger and younger. They come in for everybody. They don't care about who you are. They don't care about who you stand for. They don't care about that. And I'm gonna talk to all of y'all, not to this little baby. Everybody, stay in school and keep your heads up. Y'all are us. Y'all know in 10 years and 20 years, y'all gonna be out here talking the same stuff we talking. It's important. No, it's important. Y'all gonna be out here singing. I remember when I went. No, y'all will, because this is why I say something. Y'all gonna be out here singing. I remember when they had us out here, and we was back in 2014, and something good happened. Look at us now. It ain't always negative.
That's right.
Okay? So y'all will be out here in 20 years and 15 years saying, I remember when I was out there with my little sign I made, and now your sign gonna say, look at this change that happened.
Yeah.
Okay? So please, again, like I said, I thank everybody for coming. Let's do it again. I expect to see everybody's faces, and thank you.
right. Change starts with right there.